Welcome to Faith Speaks, and I'm Dick Patten, your host. And we're here at Immaculate Heart of Mary Church for our Catholic radio station, 102.7. This is WCIX FM, and it's a pleasure today to welcome to Faith Speaks Sue McKinnon, who is with Catholic Charities. And Sue, it's a pleasure to have you here today. And
well, thank you for inviting me.
Well, we're so excited with this new show here on the Catholic radio station, and especially coming from Immaculate Heart of Mary Church. And sometimes we've been taping upstairs, and sometimes we're over here at this studio. So doing very well. But
Nice.
So much about Catholic Charities that a lot of people don't know. I mean, they hear the word charities, and it kind of scares them maybe from, well, not really a charity case, but still, you offer many, many things in your line of work. I can remember years ago that my wife and I were looking to maybe do adoptions.
Yes.
And we came and spoke to someone at that time. I want to say I thought that it was down in Manchester we went. But maybe it was here in Concord.
No, it was in Manchester. The main office is in Manchester.
That's what I thought.
And that's where adoption office is.
Yeah.
And we have many different aspects of Catholic Charities, adoption being one.
Mm.
We have legal service for immigration. We
Really?
have lawyers and paralegals that help with the immigration legal issues. We also have the many healthcare facilities.
Really?
We also have a healthcare facility for the retired priest in Manchester.
That's right. I've heard of that. It's, oh boy, I can't think of the name of it.
Bishop Peterson.
Is that? I'm thinking there was another one down there, Most Precious Blood, Blessed Sacrament. I can't remember. I know that I've heard of it down there with the Blessed Sisters as well and things.
We also have Our Place, which is a program for young mothers.
Okay.
And that's down in Manchester. And they just opened another branch in Rochester.
Really?
And we have 10 district offices throughout the state.
Oh, that's good. So every county basically has
Well, it's
one?
by the deanery. We have 10 deaneries.
Oh, really?
So it goes by the deaneries. In fact, the Concord district office covers 23 towns.
Yes, I know. I can't believe that. That's a lot.
From Washington in the west,
Really?
New Hampshire, all the way to Northwood in the east,
Mm.
and then from Pittsfield down to Hooksett, all those towns in between.
My goodness. So you go as far as Washington, Hillsborough, Deering, over that way, Anarch, of course.
Hopkinton, Kentucky.
Yeah, Webster, Salisbury.
Yeah.
How about up to Franklin too? And
No, that's out of the Laconia office.
That's
But we share,
Laconia.
some of the towns that are bordering on the deaneries, that are right on the border, we'll share those depending on what's going on and who's available.
boy, that's a lot of traffic. I know Father Mark up in Littleton personally, and that deanery up there is like it's humongous as far as the traveling goes up there. It's like, ooh,
I think they have the biggest geographic area
they must
in that
because-
office.
Yes. Oh, interesting. So how many people do you feel that you work with during the year? Or
I average about 2,000.
Really?
And I just got, whenever our grant writer will write a grant to try to get money in for the office, he will send me the rough draft to make, and have me look it over, make sure it's accurate. And I was happy to find out that in the past 5 years, the amount of people that we service in the Concord district office has increased 77%.
Really? My goodness. Now, is that because of our population as far as, you mentioned immigrants, is that due to a lot of the immigrants coming in?
Well, I was surprised to find out when I came to Concord 5 years ago that the large refugee population that we have here in Concord. In fact, the English-speaking classes, many of them are right here in this building.
Really?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
There's different groups coming in and working with the refugees because if they don't speak English, they're not going to get a job.
Yes.
So there's different groups that come in to work with them from 9 o'clock in the morning till sometimes 6 o'clock at night.
Oh my goodness.
English speaking classes, citizenship classes on Thursday afternoons. And they have many different levels of English speaking classes.
Wow. Interesting.
It is.
Now, when they come in, do they have any idea of the English language? Are they starting right out fresh?
Most of them are starting fresh.
Really?
Some of the refugees, the ones that came from Nepal,
Yep.
were educated there in the refugee camp, and many of them have bachelor's degrees.
Wow.
But their bachelor degree there doesn't have as many credits as it does here in the U.S. So Southern New Hampshire University is working with them to bring them up so that they can get their bachelor's degree here in the United States.
Interesting.
And people that are at least read and write in their own language learn the English language much more quickly than those that are
Sure.
illiterate in their own language.
Sure.
And it's Essentia Care Alliance that is integrating them into this culture. It's very interesting. Some of the stories are very sad.
I bet.
Yeah.
I mean, and we've also gotten a lot of refugees or immigrants from Bhutan that have come into the Concord
Yes.
area.
And they're the ones that were in refugee camps in Nepal. Now we're getting, most of the people we get coming in now are from Africa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing because I know I've seen many at Mass. I know are
Yeah.
coming in their native dress or whatever. It's very, very nice.
Yes.
Although I'm wondering how they're coping with the cold weather right now. I mean, even
Well,
last
that's one
year,
thing.
but-
I have many, the people here in the Concord area are very generous. And in fact, I got a call today from somebody in Bristol, and she has a heart for the refugees, and she keeps calling me with donations, warm clothing and boots. And I see them come into my office, and they have flip-flops on in this weather. And oh dear.
Is it because they don't want? I mean, do they have winter over there in their country?
No.
They don't.
So then we help them.
They must be freezing.
Mhm.
Their feet. Wow.
So then you give them socks, and they put the socks on, and then put the flip-flops on over the socks.
Oh my goodness.
But eventually they get what they need.
Sure.
One of the teachers asked me if I would bring a couple of the refugees to Friends of Forgotten Children because they needed warm clothing. And the ladies just were beside themselves with all the selections of shoes that were there for them. And, so we all work together.
Yeah, and I'm on the board now for Friends of Forgotten Children. I just got appointed.
Nice.
Yeah.
We work very closely with them.
Yeah, Cheryl
Cheryl's wonderful.
is wonderful. She goes to she comes here to Immaculate Heart occasionally. I know they've been going to St. John's, but if it's easier or the time wise, they'll come here. But yeah, she's a very hard worker.
She is.
Interesting. And the other thing is too is I was assuming that most of them were not of the Catholic faith. They are maybe of a different type, but have they become members of the Catholic faith now? Or?
Well, I think there's many coming from Africa, French-speaking, that are Catholic.
Really?
Yes. I'm not exactly sure what country, but...
Well, of course, at one time, France had several countries there as colonies.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think Algeria was one of them. And someone said Chad, or there's a couple more down in there. But interesting. Just because I always wonder what their religion would be, if they're Hindu, or if they're
all of them. All of them.
And how have they adapted to the Catholic religion? And my glasses naturally, and but it's just. It's nice to see them, and you try to always smile. And I mean, they seem like a very happy group. It's unfortunate that we have some that tend to not understand them or whatever, but we would be the same way. We would all, if we went to their country, you know.
That's fear-based. I think people
Yeah.
that don't understand the refugees and, you know, what it was like and why they're here. You know, it's not easy to get refugee status. Your life has to be in danger.
Oh,
And I've got many, many stories, very sad stories,
I
where they
imagine.
came from.
I imagine, because when you read it in the newspaper or you'll just see something on TV, what they're going through, it just must be sad.
It's very sad.
When you see the little kids, you know, even here at the parish center, they look so happy, but, you know, I can't imagine what they came from. You know, when they had like a bowl, if they got a bowl of rice a day, or a quarter of a bowl of rice, and come here and they're a nice meal, they must just can't believe it. So, now what else, Sue, do your agency can do for people of the Catholic faith? I mean, we
work with everybody, not just Catholics.
Really?
Oh
Okay.
yes, we help everybody. In fact, I think what we do at Catholic Charities, is specifically in my outreach position,
Yeah.
that other social service agencies, what makes us different is that we give people hope.
Yeah. Okay.
And I recall one day I got, and it was on a Tuesday a couple of weeks ago during the holidays, I got 30 calls that day.
Really?
And it took me 3 days to get back to everybody, but I did get back to everybody.
Yeah.
And I want to hear their story.
Sure.
And I don't want to just put a Band-Aid on the situation.
No.
I want to get to the root of it so we can remedy the situation and they won't be in whatever situation yet again. And so what we're doing now with people that are requesting, especially if it's financial assistance, we are working with them with a life plan. And so we go through different parts of their life, their housing, their medical, you know, all the different areas in their life. And we score them on all these.
Sure.
And then we find the different areas that they need help. And maybe there's other agencies, other services that would be helpful. Have you applied for fuel assistance through community action? Have you applied, if you're out of work for whatever, been laid off, or many times it's a medical condition, unexpected medical.
Sure.
A woman in Hillsborough just recently was in a terrible car accident. She may not walk again. That family needs 2 incomes. So this is a time for her, and they're very proud.
Oh, sure.
Husband's very proud, has never asked for any kind of assistance. This may be the time that you may need some food stamps or some fuel assistance or whatever programs. And so I work with the city welfare worker in Hillsborough, and together we help them get the services that they need.
Interesting.
So it's working with the different services. And in Concord, nobody should be hungry.
No.
We have food pantries. We have the Friendly Kitchen that serves 3 meals a day.
St. Vincent de Paul. I mean, now, has that name changed at all? Is it still St. Vincent de Paul?
It's St. Vincent de Paul.
Okay.
And it's over at Christ the King, over at St. John's Parish.
Yeah.
Yep. And many of the churches have food pantries. Friends of Forgotten Children is one of the best ones. And I will even, if people do not have transportation, because you know, they're kind of out in the boonies out there on Bog Road.
They
and if you don't have transportation, you're not going to Friends.
No.
So I will transport people over there, and I can't help but wonder that they get a little extra when I bring them. But it's finding out what people need to get to the root of what's going on and making a difference.
Well, it's true. You know, and I think that's what happens sometimes, is we forget that we have been very fortunate or very lucky here, for most of us. But then you look around the world and see some of them not even getting like I said, a full bowl of soup or rice or whatever, and it just tears me apart when you see it on TV. The kids, you know, not even, you know, you can tell they're well undernourished, and it's like, oh boy, it just tears you apart. You know?
But we have that New Hampshire Food Bank is part of Catholic Charities.
Oh, is it?
Mm-hmm. And it's amazing the numbers the statistics that they have on how many hungry people there are here.
I bet.
In this state.
Yeah.
And the numbers that they serve.
Wow.
Yeah.
What can an outside organization, nonprofit, who might be listening to the show today or whenever it's on, what could they do? Now, you mentioned about the boots or mittens, things like that. What could a group do? I mean, if you needed things like that, what are some of the items that we could come
Well,
up
we
with?
certainly always need warm clothing in the winter.
Okay.
And in fact, I work in conjunction with Friends of Forgotten Children. So the donations that I get that aren't specific for the refugees, and many refugees do go to Friends of Forgotten Children, I bring those donations to Friends.
Okay.
And I will even transport people to go there to get what they need.
Sure. Okay. Because I didn't know, like, in my organization, we were always looking to help someone, and we have we have a program of collecting boots, new boots and things, mittens, especially during the winter time, and either we go to the local schools to see if they need these things, or if we know of somebody else that could use boots or mittens or something, we could gladly bring them to them. So.
And we can always use volunteers. Catholic Charities is also a community partner with Community Loan Fund. And what we do is there's an educational savings program.
Okay.
And the saver will save $500 over 6 months. And then in return, they will get $4,500 to use for tuition expenses.
Wow, very nice.
And the only thing that they ask them to do is to get the financial fitness training, which is done online. And they can do it twice.
Really? Oh, nice.
So, we can always use volunteers. Helping in those areas with the application process with the individual development accounts.
Okay.
We can always use volunteers even to answer the phone.
Really?
Very seldom, trying to get in touch with me. Very seldom do I get the opportunity to actually answer the phone.
Really?
Because I'm either on the phone or I'm out in the community, helping or whatever. So.
Well, see, I thought you had a full staff over there, and.
I be the full staff.
Really?
Yes. We have a mental health counselor there 2 days a week.
Okay. Yeah, no, I thought sure that there was a full staff that was over there, and that you had basically the whole building, or at least the lower part, the lower floor was all yours.
We pretty much have the first floor.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also can always use people. I have one man who is a maintenance worker at one of the big apartment complexes in Concord, and he volunteers to help with simple maintenance things, and we will help with the expenses, and and it's usually women, single women, elderly women that need a little something, a little help around.
Sure.
There's always small, building. Right now, I have a client in Henniker who needs some gravel for her driveway.
Oh dear.
So we'll see what we can do, but we try to. We don't always give people exactly what they want, but we're there for them.
Well,
we can be there.
That's good.
I may not have $3,000 to prevent you from being evicted, but I can go with you to court so that you're not alone.
Sure.
During that process.
Yeah. Well, it's sad. I mean, it really is. And how the adoption process? I'm going to go back to that just a little bit, because do you have I know the Hampshire state welfare, they have like a 4-year or 5-year waiting list for infants, but do you also have like a strong or a group of people that are waiting to adopt babies, or how about children? What ages do you go up to or far up
Yeah,
to?
I would have to ask Elaine Langdon, who works in adoption, about those. I'm not privy to those
No, I know
those numbers right now.
I know you have a fund drive too once a year. I know we have at Mass we have envelopes, I think.
We have the appeal.
Yes. And
in the spring.
So it's coming up.
It's coming.
Yeah. How much money do you really try to get to? Hopefully that you receive to operate a year here.
Well, what I know is 93 cents out of every dollar donated goes back into services.
Really?
Yeah. We also have a fundraiser coming up in February at the Grapponi Center called Mardi Gras.
Oh.
And that's where we raise money for fuel assistance.
Oh, really?
Last year it was over $100,000.
$100,000.
Yep.
Wow.
So each office got $10,000.
Good. That's a big help right there.
Yeah.
Now, when is that going to be held at the Grapponi Center? What happens down there? Is it like a banquet or
it's
dancing?
Huge? Yes, all of that. Private auction, a silent auction, and a live auction. It's pretty spectacular. It's very formal.
Is it?
And it's a lot of fun.
Is it?
Yeah.
Now this is strictly Catholic Charities that's putting this on, or whatever. Okay, well, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Oh. Now is that near Valentine's, or is that toward?
I believe it's the first week in February.
Wow. Well,
So if anybody was interested, they could call the main office to inquire about tickets to Mardi Gras.
Well, that would be good because it's right near the election day, so some of the candidates should be able to give a little donation there.
Yes.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
I know. That's right. Well, that's good then. Now, and that's about your only appeal during the year. You don't have another one during the summer or fall.
No, our big appeal in the churches is in the spring, usually in April.
Wow. Well, that's interesting. That's
and
good.
they have grant writer. We have grant writers going towards corporations and.
That's one thing I know myself is that we trying to find the grants and try to have someone that can write them because I'm not good at that. I wouldn't even know where to start to look for them for grants,
And we have a full-time person doing that.
Do you find that people are coming to your door every day, every minute, or do you go over to see Father Ray, or how does that work? I mean, do they just come to your door rather than going over there, or do you get calls
We
at
share.
night? Yeah.
We share. If I get calls at night, they do leave a message. And my phone does not have caller ID, so if somebody's calling looking for help, I hope they leave their phone number because I do not have caller ID. But it does tell the time. And it's interesting when you get the calls.
I bet.
Yeah.
I bet.
And I check them and try to get back as soon as I can.
Well, that's good then, because sometimes it's so, when you're really down and out, and you've tried everywhere, and you constantly get either nobody answers or nobody calls you back, and it's like, well, do I call Catholic Charities? Well, I'm not Catholic.
No, you don't have to be Catholic.
But see, I think a lot of people think that they have to be. It's like, because you don't know, and you think, well, gee, I'm not Catholic, but, well, hey, now people who are listening, if you do need some help, and
and if I don't have, what they need, I certainly know who might have it. I know the resources in this area.
That's good.
And a very common response for people is, I can't believe you are the only one that I called so many people. Catholic Charities is the only one that called me back.
Wow, that's good though.
We get to live the Gospels every day in our job.
Well, I'm sure.
We feed the hungry.
Feeding the hungry, helping the fatherless, the widows, and the children.
Yeah.
It is. It's a really, it's a good feeling,
I love my job.
I can tell. How many years you been doing this?
So I was the mental health counselor for 10 years for Keene, Claremont, and Lebanon.
Wow.
And then 5 years ago, I came here to do outreach.
Wow.
And I can actually do more doing outreach than just sitting in my office.
Yeah, I'm sure.
You know, I can bring people to where they need to go. We do car counseling now. In the car.
When you said car counseling in the car, does he mean it this for people who are living in their car, or
No.
just people that?
When we're driving to get.
Yeah. Do you need drivers for people that need to go to?
Absolutely. That would be wonderful.
Yeah.
That would be wonderful.
So the best way is just to call you here at this office, and then.
Yeah.
So it must have been a good move then coming up here too, because you weren't here before. At Immaculate Heart, you were down in St. John's, weren't you? Didn't they have a small office?
Oh,
down
I don't
there?
know. The office has been here for some time.
Has it? Because I remember once I thought that there was a small office at St. John's upstairs on the second
There might have been.
floor.
There might have been.
Mm.
Before my time.
Well, that's good, because I'll tell you always want to serve our Lord and serve the people, and it just irritates me when you know that there are some out there that could really help others and they just turn away. It's sad, because you never know when that's could be you out there.
Exactly.
And it could happen to you.
Professional people, you know, get sick
That's
and
right.
can't work.
That's right. Yeah, and then you're going to be wanting help, and you know that's how
So where
I
do you
feel.
turn?
Yeah, that's what I feel, because I hate to turn my back on anybody, because you never know when it's going to happen to you, and you can only hope that somebody is going to be there.
Mhm.
You know, but
We have many resources here in Concord. People work together very well here in Concord.
that's good.
The different agencies.
Mm.
And not just in Concord, through the whole deanery.
Really?
And it's building relationships. It's all about connecting with people.
Oh, yes, you're right.
With other professionals, with my clients. And, you know, one will help out with another. And God has a plan.
And we just opened up. They're just opening up that homeless shelter now at the
cold weather shelter. Tonight's the
yes,
first night.
at St. Peter's over
Mhm.
there at the activity center.
Very exciting.
I know, because that was one thing that really bothered me, was in the November elections in Concord, that not one candidate mentioned about the shelters for the homeless. Because the two churches that had been doing it for so many years weren't going to do it no more.
No.
And nobody mentioned it.
Nobody stepped up to the plate.
Nobody did. And all of a sudden, of course, you know, Father Rich there was
He's very
the
generous.
bishop. He is a wonderful priest.
We work together well.
Yeah, he is. I've called on him several times, and he is a wonderful man. And why they haven't made him a Monsignor, I don't know, but they should. But he, making St. Peter's available was a godsend. So.
And we thank the bishop for that also.
Yes. Yeah, the bishop, yeah. I see him usually once a year at the legislature. He comes up and speaks. But, well, with that in mind, we thank you for coming on
It's
Faith
my
Speaks. And anytime in the future, Sue, if you have something that Catholic Charities needs to get the word out there, please call me. We're more than happy to have you come on and help promote our program and promote your agency and get the word out there.
Thank you.
Okay, well, with that in mind, this is Dick Patten, host of Faith Speaks, and we look forward to talking with you soon. And again, thank you to Immaculate Heart of Mary Church and to the staff for letting us present this program, and we look forward to talking with you soon. Have a great day, and always be willing to help someone else less fortunate.